Okay, so hello students. Today we are going to learn about the chapter 9 of class 10, that is light, reflection and refraction. Okay, so let us first study what is light. Okay, so light is a form of energy which helps us to see the objects. Okay, through by the help of the light we can able to see the objects. Okay, means where it is placed. Okay, uh, then light travels in a straight line. Okay, so light always follows a straight line path. It does not follow any curve path or any zigzag path. It always go in a straight line path. Then there are some of the examples of light, like twinkling of the stars, formation of rainbow, formation of shadow, etc. Okay, so these are some of the examples of the light. So let us see some of the examples of the light. So in the first image you can see that the sunlight that is falling on the ball, it struck the ball first, then it reflected back to the boy's eyes. Okay, so here the boy is able to see the ball because the rays of the light that is coming from the sun gets strike to the ball first, then it reflected back into the boy's eyes. Okay, so in this way the boy is able to see the ball that is placed in front of it. Okay, so by the reflection of the light, the boy is able to see the ball. Then the next, you see the rainbow. How a rainbow is formed? So when the light is coming from the sun, it strikes to the water particles present in the atmosphere, and then in the water particles it reflected inside the water particle, then it refracted through the water particle, and it gives the various colors. Like in the rainbow there are 7 colors. Vibgyor, we call it Vibgyor, that is the violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Okay, so that is the known as the Vibgyor. Okay, so uh, then let's go to the next example. So what is twinkling of the stars? So by the help of the light, uh, we see in the night, like the stars get twinkle. Okay, so why the stars get twinkle? So because the stars are actually a planet, but they are placed at a very long distance. Okay, so when you see uh, these stars that is placed a very long distance from the earth, uh, the light source coming from those planets have to follow a long distance to reach the earth atmosphere. Okay, so during this path, the light that is coming from the planet get refracted through the earth atmosphere, and due to this, when it falls to our eyes, it get refracted many times. Okay, so the light get refracted due to the earth atmosphere. Okay, so but actually the planet is placed at its own place, but due to the refraction of the light, we assume that the stars are twinkling, but actually they are not changing their position. Only due to the refraction, the we see that the stars get twinkle. Okay, so these are some of the examples of light. Then comes to the reflection of light. So actually what is reflection? Okay, so when light falls on a highly polished surface like a mirror, most of the light is sent back in the same medium. Okay, so this process is called the reflection of light. So actually what is the reflection? So consider a highly polished surface. Polished surface means what? It is like a shining surface where any light when falls on it, it gets reflected back in the same medium. Okay, here medium is what is called as medium. The medium here, it is telling that the air. Okay, so here let us consider some of the mediums, like when you are sitting inside a home, okay, and you are walking outside, the medium is now it is air. Okay, so the medium is air. So and let us take one more medium. So water, water can be one medium. Okay, so water, then oil. Okay, so these are some of the medium. Okay, so these are some of the mediums. So when light falls on a mirror, when the mirror is placed on the in the normal in a room. Okay, so the medium, it is called the air medium. Okay, so here the medium does not change. So when light falls on the mirror, it gets reflected back into the same medium. Okay, first it strikes to the mirror, then it gets reflected in the same medium. Okay, so this is known as the reflection of light. Okay, and the uh, surrounding atmosphere present around the mirror is known as the medium. Okay, so these are known as the medium. So this process by which the light falls on a polished surface reflected back into the same medium, this process known as the reflection of light. Okay, now we are clear what is reflection. Then comes to the laws of reflection. So there are actually two laws of reflection. Okay, so the first law is telling that the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Okay, so this one is the first law. Then the second law is telling that the incident ray normal to the mirror at the point of incidence and reflected ray all lie in the same plane. Okay, so let us first go through the first laws of reflection. It is telling that the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Okay, so let us first go through what is angle of incidence. Okay, so there are some of the name that is given during the reflection. So now we know this one is a mirror. Okay, so this one is a mirror, and the ray of light that is falling on the mirror is known as the incident ray. Okay, this is known as the red color known as the incident ray, and the light that gets reflected back, that is known as the reflected ray. Okay, and there is a perpendicular to the mirror is known as the normal. Okay, this one is known as the normal, and here uh, it start this one is known as the angle of incidence, and there is one more angle of reflection. Okay, so what is angle of incidence? The angle that the incident ray, okay, so this one is the incident ray and this one is the reflected ray. Okay, so the incident ray that is making the angle with the perpendicular, this is known as the normal. This perpendicular, that is 90 degree with the plane mirror. Okay, so the incident ray that is making the angle with the normal is this angle is known as the angle of incidence. Okay, so this is indicated by I. Okay, the same thing when the reflected ray, that is the ray coming out after reflection, make an angle with the normal, that is known as the angle of reflection. Okay, this angle known as the angle of reflection, and it is denoted by small r. Okay, so now you're clear what is incident ray, what is reflected ray, what is normal, what is angle of incidence, what is angle of reflection. Okay, so these are some of the terms that is related during the process of reflection of light. Okay, so the first light is telling that the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Okay, so the incident ray that is falling and making the angle with the normal, this angle of incidence I is equal to the angle of reflection. Okay, the first law is telling that the angle I is equal to the angle R. Okay, so the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. So the first law it is telling. Okay, I equal to R means what does it telling? That the in which angle the light is incident to the mirror, at the same angle it will get reflected. Okay, consider it as the I is, let us consider as 30 degree. Okay, so the incident ray is falling at the 30 degree angle with the normal. Consider, always take measure the angle with the normal, not with the base. Like this angle is not angle of incidence, this is not the angle of incidence, Okay, so this is not the angle of incidence. uh, this is not the angle always made with the normal, not with the mirror. Okay, um, always remember this one. Okay, the angle is always made with the normal, not with the base of the mirror. Okay, so let us consider that the incident ray is making an angle 30 degree with the normal. So this one is the angle of incidence. So tell me now, what is the angle of reflection? So at what angle the light ray get reflected? So as we know, angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. So the here the angle of reflection will also be what, 30 degree. Okay, so this is the first law. It is telling this, that the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Okay, now let's just come to the second law. What is telling? The incident ray, the normal to the mirror at the point of incidence, and the reflected ray all lie in the same plane. So second law, it is what is telling, that the incident ray, okay, this one is the incident ray, the normal to the mirror at the point of incidence, this one is the normal, and the reflected ray, this one is the reflected ray. Okay, so these three all lie in the same plane. Plane means what? This one is the plane, this one is the mirror, and they all three lie in the same point. Okay, so here this point all are lying. Okay, so second law, it is telling that these three, that the incident ray, normal, and the reflected ray, these three all lie in the same point of the plane. Okay, plane means what? This one is the plane. The mirror is considered as the plane. Okay, it is not that the incident ray will strike here. Okay, and it will reflected here. Normal will form here. Okay, it is not like that. Okay, so these all three lie in the same point of the plane. Okay, so let me erase this one. Hmm. Okay, so now clear what is uh, what are the these two laws of reflection is telling. The first law, it is telling angle of reflection incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Second law telling that the all the three, that the incident ray, normal to the mirror, and the reflected ray, all three lie in the same point of the plane. Okay, so yeah, let us continue further in the upcoming videos. Okay, let's thank you.